Good evening, everybody. It is Kylie here from Hello Crafter, and another evening session of crafting for you. It's back on Monday this week, same as last week. So I was in Yorkshire until today, a nice long weekend in Yorkshire, which was really, really nice. Weather was amazing. Met some friends out there, so that was really lovely. And I did take some crafting with me to do last night. And I thought I was so organised. I packed up a little box. I got my all my stamps and everything I needed in this little box here. So I was all compact. And then when I got it out yesterday to organise myself for coming on live, I realised I didn't have an ink pad with me. Not a single ink pad. So that didn't happen. I couldn't really do anything much without an ink pad. So anyway, so I thought I'd come on tonight and just show you some stamping projects that I thought were really cute. So I've picked a bundle. Well, I absolutely love this bundle, and this is actually what we're using for Card Club this month. It's Charming Day, and it's a gorgeous floral stamp set. This beautiful rose design, which is great for colouring, and the dies as well, which I'll show you more detail in a minute, actually, when I've nipped your camera down. And in Card Club, we're actually also going to be using the papers. So these are the papers. Just look how pretty they are. They're kind of like, I think they are year-round type of papers, because you've got some colours in here that are kind of more autumnal and some that are more summer. And then on the backs you have these really, really gorgeous subtle patterns, more solid colour, but just look at that. I think they would work for many different occasions. So the papers are gorgeous, so we're going to be using those for Card Club. So I usually have my deadline for signing up to Card Club around the 10th of the month. So you've got 6 days or so, 5 or 6 days, if you were interested in receiving a package of lovely goodies, papers, ribbons and embellishments and materials to make 8 cards. And you get the tutorials, you get to come to a class if you want to, either online or in person. And yeah, it's really fun. It's really, really nice. So that's coming up at the end of the month, but deadline for ordering is about the 10th. So I'm not sure if the video's kind of going a bit weird, because it seems to be a little bit kind of glitchy for me. So I hope you're able to see okay, and that it's showing up in the right place. So let me know if you're here. Say hi, and I'll get crafting, and I'll show you what I've been doing with this this bundle. So the dies and the stamps work beautifully together, but you've got more dies than the ones that just cut out the stamped images. You have these really beautiful like, what would you call them, like arrangements of flowers. You have this gorgeous rose one on a stem, and then these beautiful leaves, and then this kind of sort of cut out rose style die. I haven't used that one yet, but I'm going to be using that this week on some projects. And they kind of layer up and build, and you can just get as detailed as you want, really. But tonight I'm going to be doing some fairly simple cards, just with the stamps and the dies, and a little bit of colouring. So I'm going to start with doing some stamping onto a plain white piece of paper, and doing some colouring with my stamping blends. These are the alcohol-based markers, which I love to use. And I'm just using my Memento black ink pad, and I'm just going to stamp it on here. We're going to cut these out, so it doesn't really matter where they are. So let's have a couple of those as well. And as you know, or you might not know, that the type of ink that you stamp with when you're colouring with blends is important. It has to be a water-based ink rather than a alcohol-based ink, or don't use StazOn or anything permanent with the alcohol markers because it just smudges them. It has to be opposite. So these work perfectly with this black ink here. Let me just double check that I've got you coming. Yeah, right. Let's start. So I won't admit to being a particularly great colour inner. I just slap the colour on really. I do get a little bit of shading with the darker of the two tones, so sometimes when it's a big area like this, I just start with the light first and just get a wash of colour. And I'm using the brush tip end, the thick end, because it's a larger area, but I'm barely pressing down on the tip. I'm using it more like a paintbrush, and that just lets me get quite fast solid colour on. And to get the shading, you just get the darker version and you can just sort of do a line along the edge where it might be more in shadow, or at the base of the leaf near the flower, and maybe along that centre, the sort of curved centre line where the vein of the leaf might be. Sort of any areas that might look like they would be more shaded. And then because these two colours are quite different, you can see it's quite a distinct slide, but I might want to soften that. So I'll go back in with the thin end of my light colour, and I do little circles, little circular motion just to soften the line between the dark and the light, just to kind of remove any sort of more harsher transitions, if you like. It softens it a little bit. That's kind of all I do, and I'm sure there are much better tutorials on colouring than that. These smaller ones, the smaller areas, it's probably just as easy to start with the dark, get a little bit of the dark where the shading is, and then just blend over the top with the light. And you probably, on those smaller leaves, you probably don't need that added extra step. Okay, so yeah, I'll just do same again. This is Granny Apple Green. I would say that the Granny Apple Green blends are my most used blends, and I'm probably on my maybe 5th set. I just love the colour green, and it just I tend to select it whenever I've got leaves to colour in. I tend to select my Granny Apple Green. I just love it. So as you can imagine, if I'm doing lots and lots of this kind of thing, colouring in, and especially if I'm using my blends within my classes as well, so I might have 6 people using my blends, then yeah, they do eventually need replacing, but you do get a lot of use out of them, especially if you treat them well. If you treat them nicely and don't press too hard with this end. That's all I would say, because the temptation is to use that end to blend the two colours together, but you don't want to really be putting any pressure on this end. I'm barely even, like you can see, I'm barely even bending the end. So just get some quick colour on. Solid. This is the pale strawberry slush. I really like the contrast between this kind of deep pink and the green. And it is hard to talk and colour at the same time, so giving you a break from my voice for a second. So, and it actually, because I've been travelling back today, it doesn't actually feel like Monday. It feels like Sunday. And then tomorrow will feel like Monday because I have a massive to-do list. Humongous. But it's all good. So I got my monthly team meeting this week, which I'm really looking forward to, because we're going to be doing some sneak peek products and crafting with some sneak peeks coming up in the new catalogue, which excitingly we can, as demonstrators, we can order from at 11 p.m. tonight. So I will be staying up. I don't think anyone would be too surprised about that. Yes, I will be staying up and putting my first order in from the new September to December catalogue. And we're able to pre-order from the new online exclusives tonight as well. So exciting. I can't tell you. All I can tell you now, I mean, you will be seeing them filtering through, I'm sure, on blogs and everything, but the new season's products are absolutely stunning. I'm very, very excited. I mean, I love a bit of Christmas crafting anyway, but this year's stuff's amazing, and you will soon see it. So anyway, I've coloured those in, and I'm going to die cut them out, and I'm going to bring my cutting boss up here to do it. Okay, let's just line those up. Might use a little bit of tape. Do you think I can get away with it? Let's see. Yeah, just another one of the small flowers. There we go. And they're cut out. And I've actually done a little bit of die cutting ahead of time. These gold leaves, that's this die here. And I've cut out of gold foil card. So we're going to have some kind of gold bits and pieces on our cards. Right, first one. Let's build the first one. We're going to have 2 layers, and the bigger one is 9.5 centimeters by 13.8 centimeters, and the smaller one is 9 centimeters by 13.3. And I'm going to take this flower and I'm going to stamp the design all over randomly, all over the smaller one. And if you rotate the stamp as you go round, you can generally fit more in, and it kind of looks more patterny, if that's even a word. fill in all these little gaps. Yep. And glue that onto the larger piece. This is where I'm going to find my glues have dried up a little bit. There we go. So that just creates a little frame around there. And then I've got a black card base. I'm just going to put that straight on the black base. And then I've actually used another die set, which is Textured Notes dies. And these are these lovely rectangular frames with different kind of patterns sort of etched into the edges. I really love them. They're kind of like a little bit Aztec-y, if that's the right word for them. But you can see it's kind of like almost a stitched design around the edge. They're lovely. So I've die cut a couple of those out. And then this, I'm just going to do, well, let's do happy birthday. I've not made many happy birthday cards in the last few weeks, so let's do that one. That fits really nicely on there. Just with the black again. And I'm going to arrange that really simply on there with a couple of these flowers and a couple of these so I'm going to attach that with some dimensionals first of all. I put just a couple of those on. And then these also with dimensionals. I'm going to tuck these ones just behind. Like that. And then just to finish it off, I've got these loose gold sequins. I do love a sequin. And I'll put a couple on here. I put a tiny dab of glue, like a little dot of glue, really small. And take a pick tool. Mine broke, so this is a brand new one. Just twist the end just slightly to get some of that rubber out, and then pick up those sequins with just that little rubber tip and place them down on the glue dot. It actually helps if you've had the patience, time, whatever, to let that little dot of glue dry for a minute or so till it goes tacky rather than wet, and then when you drop the sequin onto it, it ends up being stronger than this rubber, so it pulls it onto it, if that makes sense. So a little tip for you. Okay, second card. I've got some bits ready done. And again, I've used the same, what's it called? I keep forgetting the name of it. Textured Notes dies. Used them and I've cut two of those out. It's a nice long thin one for a sentiment, and then this one And before I assemble, I'm going to use an embossing folder directly onto the card base. So this is the Glass and Gardens embossing folder. I've used it a few times recently. You get 2 in a pack, and they're the small ones. So they do run through the small machine, the mini machine as well. So I've just realised I need a different style of card base. So I want my card base to fold the other way, so I'm just going to cut another one. A tent fold card base. Hello Sharon, I've just seen your comment. Good evening. Hope you've had a productive day. So yeah, I've cut my A4 in half lengthways at 10.5 centimeters. Now I'm just scoring it in half at 14.8. So I've got this style opening card base. So now I can actually run this through, pop this into, so you can see I've folded it up, but I've only popped half of it, just the front, into the folder. And I can run this through my large machine this way, because this card will fit going this way, because you always want to put your embossing folders into your machine with the fold first. So let me just figure that out where I want it, and making sure that the Stampin' Up logo is facing up so that it does the proper embossing on the front of the card. And I'm just going to quickly run that through. Let's bring this up. I was trying to do it on the floor and then everything was moving. It might be a good idea to tape it down actually, so it doesn't try to move. But you know, I'm just going to go for it. It might be a bit wonky, but it doesn't matter, does it? You're not going to mind too much, are you? I'm sure you'll forgive me if it's a little bit wonky. Okay. Yeah, it did move a little bit, but you know, it doesn't matter because actually most of it's going to be covered anyway. But now I've got this lovely embossed pattern, and that was good. And now I'm going to build this up. So I've got my die cut coloured bit there. I've got this label which I'm going to just attach with dimensionals. So probably want one in each corner and a couple in the middle, I think, so that it's nice and stable. And this one can go on. Never know which way round it goes. I don't think it really matters too much. And we can put our little gold leaves on as well, just poking through. And a sentiment. I feel like, because I've die cut this long thin one out, I feel like I need a long thin sentiment. So I'm going to find one from a different card, a different set. Oh, this is really cute. You are seriously the best. How have I not used this entire set? I have no idea. I think it will fit. Let's try it. It's a bit of a risk because it's red rubber. It's a red rubber one. I'm not even going to bother putting the label on it. I'm just going to go for it because it's cute sentiment. Let's try it out. I think I've got a spare die cut if it all goes wrong. Let's just test it out on the grid paper first. Yeah, that is cute. Not a bad attempt. Could be better, could be worse. Okay, so I could put that on. I'll put 2 dimensionals on this side. And a little bit of glue that side. And then it should be level with everything. There. And finally some little sequins. And they might take just a minute to dry, but should be secure. So, okay, there's those 2. Right. Very, very enjoyable cards, and you can do them in any colour you like. Okay, I'm a bit scared about this next one because it is a style of card that I haven't tried for a long time. The last time I tried it, I got so frustrated, I screwed the whole thing up and chucked it across the room. But let's have a go. Let's have a go. Right, so I've already pre-done these. I know, very organised. So I've done the same thing, stamped, coloured with my blends, die cut out, got these few little extra little leaves. So I've probably got more than enough here. I'm going to try the floating frame technique. And normally I'd use this stuff. Let's find it. Glad press and seal. I think I might have bought this from Amazon. You can get it if you're in the US. You can probably get it from every supermarket, but it's really hard to get in the UK. I've not seen it often, and it was quite expensive on Amazon, but there's tons of it here, and I've hardly used any of it. So it's like a food wrap that is a bit sticky. It's not like cling film that just clings. This has got stickiness to it. I don't know if I can bring myself to try it again. What do you think? Shall I have a go live on air? I don't know. I am genuinely scared of this stuff. Shall we have a go? Look, what's the worst that can happen? My card ends up in the bin. I can't even cut it. I can't even cut it with my scissors. You know what? I'm not going to do it. I can't bring myself to do it. Maybe I'll do it as a video and record it and post it. It's too much pressure live on it. But I have seen an alternative way of doing this technique, so that is what I'm going to try, using Stampin' Up's masking paper. June says do it. Gemma says do it. Oh my God. Can I show you this way first? I mean, this might also turn out to be a disaster. I don't know, but let's see. because maybe I've not remembered properly how to do this way either. But okay, maybe I should have reminded myself what the actual technique was. Anyway, this is Stampin' Up's masking paper, and you peel off the backing, and it's sticky. Okay, but hopefully not too sticky that it will peel off. But I do still like to press it on my jeans or press it on my skin a few times to make it less sticky. So I've just done it on my t-shirt, and it's kind of picked up some of my t-shirt fibres, which will hopefully make it less sticky. Do that a few times. Okay, so now I am going to start sticking my cut and coloured pieces down onto the sticky side. So it's sticky side up, but I'm placing these die cuts face down. And the ultimate idea is that I'm going to cut a frame out of this. So let me just choose. I think that might be, I don't know, let's go just one smaller than that one. I am going to cut out this frame. So I want my flowers to really nicely overlap that frame. So I'm going to just arrange these big ones on first. And then I'm going to fill in the gaps with these smaller ones. Right, so there are a few gaps, but I don't know if that would fit in there. Let's leave that one for now. Let me just check. Yeah, I think there's probably enough detail within that frame. So now I'm going to just chop off some of these that are overhanging. And then I'm going to take my die and I'm going to die cut it from the other side. It might stick to my plate a little bit, but we'll see what happens, shall we? Okay, where is my other plate? Okay, so now I've got two pieces. I've got the frame and the centre of the frame, and what I have to do is find, that was 10, yeah. Let me just cut this to size. So it was 10 by 14.3 that I cut that to, that piece of masking paper. I need to put dimensionals all over this, all over the backs of the flowers. Plenty of them, and you may need to cut some up or use some of the smaller dimensionals for the smaller pieces. Oh, I don't know if I was a bit off screen there, sorry. Who else finds it really satisfying to use every little last speck of your dimensionals? Right, I'm hoping that's enough, but I can always go and add more if there's bits that I need. Right, taking these off. Which is a job and a half. And then the other thing I've got to do this week is it's my bingo, crafts and bingo night on Sunday. So that's all going out in the post this week. Very excited for that. It's going to be so much fun. And if you haven't booked yet, I think I may have enough stuff for a couple more kits if you're interested. Right, I'm just laying them on. But yeah, if you're interested, drop me a message, and what I'll do is I'll just make sure tomorrow, once I've unpacked my box, I've got enough stuff. Right, moment of truth. I've got to try and peel off this masking paper. Let's see. Is it going to be too sticky? Right, I'm just going to go really, really slowly. I'm just going to make sure all my pieces are stuck down. I'm going to give that a little cut. So I'm only peeling back one. See, that's kind of gone a little bit. It's stuck a bit too much. So get your heat tool and just give it a little blast. On low. Give it a little blast with that, which should like ease the glue off a little bit. See, that's coming off much better. Do it a little bit at a time. So I'm sure these bits will come off if you're just careful. It's like peeling off labels. Isn't that one of the most frustrating things ever? Is peeling labels off stuff, like price labels. Anyway, I've got some work to do on that corner, but let's just see how far we can get with this. think the trick is having patience, which I don't often have. You just want to rip it all back and reveal it. But if you go slow, it's not too bad. Do you know what? I don't think this is I don't think this is the technique for me. I just have, I do watch videos sometimes and I see people do techniques like this and they make it look so easy. And this one just seems to be just a bit beyond me, really. I always have trouble, no matter which technique. I thought this would be easier because I've used masking paper a lot more. Yeah. And I think the problem is because you're putting it through the die cutting machine, so it's pressing it really firmly onto your paper as well. Anyway, I think it will be fine if I just summon my patience and get all that off. I think that will come off. But for now, you can more or less see the effect. I hope. I'm not going to spend any more time getting that off tonight. I'm going to reveal more tomorrow. And I need to work out what I'm going to do in the middle of it as well, sentiment wise. I feel like it just needs something there and something there. That's what I feel like it needs. So I need to fill in the gap. So let's just get a quarter of a dimensional there. Pop that on. Trim. Yep, okay. Well, that's not too bad. I've got this bit to do as well because it's going to go on a second card. Let's find, where's that card I made? Yeah, use that card I made earlier. Put my dimensionals on the back. Let's see how well this one comes off. Okay, should be enough on there now. Thank you, Dana. Stick your first to get a really, yeah. Yes, so I did that several times and on my t-shirt and on my arm. And it was still really sticky. Okay, it's starting it off as well. That's tricky. And this die maybe not helpful because it's got this pattern onto it. So it's like it's sort of wedged it. That's going to be really hard to start it. I think maybe a combination of the wrong die. Let's see if I can make a little cut in there. Yeah, because can you see? So it's really stuck the paper to the die, to the frame edge. I don't think this is going to work as well as I hoped. But you know, I feel like it could be really pretty. So I may have another go tomorrow and see if I can improve things just a little bit more. I think there's not enough. I feel like there's not enough flowers on it as well for this to quite fully feel full. Yeah. I told you it was a bit of a risk, didn't I? But anyway, I'm not going to give up. I don't feel this has worked as well as I wanted it to. Frame's not so bad. That's better. That hasn't. This needed to be fuller. Definitely. Right, okay. So there you go. That's my failed attempt at the floating frame technique. If anyone's watching this that has any pointers on this, because for some reason I just thought this would work really, really well. I feel like I want to perfect it though. I feel like I need to do a bit more practice and make it do what I want it to do. I don't think I should give up on it quite just yet. But there you go. I think I might leave it for now before I get into more of a mess. And I have got some extra bits and pieces to make into, or maybe even some of these bits I can use to make into another card tomorrow when I'm a bit more with it. I will attempt to make these into something pretty and share them with you tomorrow. So that's it for tonight. I hope you love seeing some things you can do with the Charming Day bundle. And like I say, if you are interested in joining my card club and making 8 projects, not these, but totally different projects. We usually do a couple of simple ones and a couple of fancier ones in card club, and we do 2 cards each of 4 different designs, so you get to do 8 cards in total. But yeah, I'll be taking sign-ups for that over the next week. Right, I'm going to be going now. I'm going to get myself a something to eat and a drink, not alcoholic. I've some water. I don't feel like I've drunk enough water today. And then I'm going to get myself ready with some kind of prioritised wish list for placing my order tonight. Rightio, I thank you so much for watching and bearing with me through that slightly chaotic craft session. And I want you to have a really good week and take care. See you soon.